Oh, morning everyone. Hope everyone had a good sleep. We're just gonna, before we kick off the session, just a couple more announcements. One, the raffle is still being sold. They're a bit low on tickets, so if you do get a ticket, you'll have a pretty good chance of winning. There's some beautiful pieces of artwork there to be won, and so I really encourage you guys to go and check it out and buy a few tickets. So to start off the session this morning, we're going to start with a testimony, and a lot of you guys will recognize the person who will be giving his testimony from TVNZ's 7 Sharp, or as co-host of the Weekend Collective on News Talk ZB. He's published 3 novels, the most recent one being The Straight Banana. He's married to Rachel, and they have 3 sons, Roman, Felix, and Wilfred. He's a middle-aged convert, and he was received into the Catholic Church on February 28th, 2012. Give a round of applause for Tim Wilson.
Morena. Lovely to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm just going to set up my my timer so I don't go over. There's nothing worse than someone who goes over time at these things, because the next speaker gets angry and you get bored and everyone's unhappy. So let me just do this quickly. There we go. Start. Okay. I never expected to be speaking to you. Like, if I thought, let's see, even 10 years ago that I would be here speaking before a Eucharistic Convention about my swim across the Tiber River into Catholicism, that's just one of the things that wasn't on my radar. But God has plans for us that we can't know. Hooray, because our plans are useless. Anyway, so I'll just tell you a bit about myself before. So I was, before I came into the church, and it sort of pivots around this vigil mass at St. Cecilia's Basilica in Spanish Harlem, 106th Street in Spanish Harlem. And it was August, which was a sort of, it's in New York. I was living in New York at the time. And it's really hot. And I found myself there because, I didn't know why I was there. I was just looking for something. I was my father's a Presbyterian minister. I had a Christian faith when I was in my teens, but I went to university, and university's just the most corrosive thing for a Christian faith. Particularly, I'd been a good boy, and I probably wanted to be a naughty boy too. So, it wasn't a faith that was that strong. It was an emotional faith. And it just got torn apart. So, of course, if you don't have a faith, what do? You have to be an atheist. So I was an atheist in my 20s. Oh, no, there's no God. What a load of rubbish. But atheism is so exhausting because you've got to fight against God. So then, when you run out of pep, or you have a little less pep, you become a bit of an agnostic. You go, well, I don't know. I'm just, moral situations, they're all different. You can't compare, there's no rules. Hey, we're all just trying to make it. So lame. And then after that, I don't know, you just don't know. You just wander around in the landscape, annoying yourself and wasting other people's time. So that was kind of where I was. But when you can't, everyone has, I think, a different way to the Lord. And sometimes you have to go low, and sometimes, He just comes and taps you on the shoulder and says, here I am. You decide. But my way to the Lord was really, like, I was supposed to be living the dream. So I was living in New York, and I had this fancy job for TV, and I, I never expected to be on TV. I was the US correspondent. It was a complete accident. Well, we know there are no accidents. We know, right? But at the time I thought, oh, how did I get this? This is weird. I was so broke before I was over there to be a print journalist. And I made so little money. I had to have, someone took pity on me and said, I'm going back to New Zealand. You have the cell phone because you don't have a social security number. You don't have any money, and you just pay the phone off and you can use the phone. I didn't even have a phone. That's how broke I was. And the person whose phone it was had done work for TVNZ. So one day I was walking along, and the phone rang, and someone wanted Lauren, who had been the owner of the phone. And I said, I'm Tim. And then I thought, wait a minute, my sluggish brain went, do you want a journalist? And it was Pam Corkery, who had a TV show at the time. And she said, yeah, I do. I said, I'm a journalist. She said, what's your name? I said, Tim Wilson. She said, oh, I think I've heard of you. All right, you'll do. And I just went, the next morning I got up at 3 a.m. to go to Times Square to do a live shot for the late news, and that's how I got into TV. So it's what I used to describe as an accident, but it's God's hand. So I had this great job, and I'd just written a novel, and this was how I got to this mass, this sweltering mass in Spanish Harlem. And I'd just written a novel, and it was getting published, and I'd always wanted to write a novel, and all my dreams were coming true. So why did I feel so meager? Why did I feel like I was this sort of parody of myself? You know, I was this rough, tough journalist. Yeah, so cynical. Everyone's just out for themselves, man. You know, I felt so small on the inside. And yet I had this big life. There was this big gap between who I felt I was and what I was. And so I went to a vigil mass, and I went there because a friend of mine was Catholic, and she sort of seemed a bit different. And I every time I'd come back from a live shot for the news, because it's like when it's 6 p.m. here, it's 2 a.m. in New York. So I'd take a cab home, and I'd go up Park Avenue, and I'd go along 106th Street back to my place in Spanish Harlem. And the doors of St. Cecilia's were there. And in the winter, the homeless people would sleep up against the doors because it was out of the cold a bit. But I don't know, something appealed to me about that church. And I saw, so I knew someone who was different. Catholics seemed to be different. I wasn't going to be a Catholic. I was just going to go to a vigil mass. Could never be a Catholic. What, one of those crazy Catholics? They're weird. They talk to the Blessed Virgin. What's up with that? I'm an ex-Presbyterian. We can't do that. No. What I'll do is, okay, so look, I don't feel that good about myself, but I'll just go to a mass, and then I can tick the box and write it off and, go back to wasting myself and everyone else's time. And so that's what I did. And I went to this mass, and it was, and I sat down the back, because mass is like class, right? All the really good ones sit up the front, and the naughty ones sit down the back. And so, am I right? And so I sat down the back, and weird thing was, first off, liturgy. My father's a Presbyterian minister, so I found I liked the liturgy. You get up and you kneel down, and your body's moving a bit, and you say things, and the priest, wonderful guy, Father Peter Mushi, Tanzanian, So literally a Tanzanian missionary to Spanish Harlem and a schmuck from New Zealand sitting in the back of the congregation. His accent was so thick, I couldn't understand half the homily. And as an ex-Presbyterian, it's like, you just go for the homily, right? Because you just got to hear some stuff. And then everyone lined up and got the precious body and blood. And I started to feel something, you know. I started to feel a sort of, I don't know, it's like, you know, in Ezekiel, when he's talking about the bones in the valley, and it's like the bones come to life. I felt something coming to life in me. And then at the end, they said, okay, so who's got wedding anniversaries? Who's got a birthday? Who's here for the first time? And what I did was, I was like a naughty kid in class. I was like, and they all turned around and they clapped me. They gave me an applause, and you can tell I'm a bit of a performer. I was like, oh my goodness, I got clapped in mass. So then I thought, then I had a problem, because it was good, and I didn't expect it to be good. So then I had to go back, and I was like, because I had all these sort of, you know, these cool friends who are like, it's all right, I'm not becoming Catholic. I literally said this, I'm just being a bit Catholic-y. So silly. But it's like you know, it's like the war. I mean, when St. Paul met our Lord, it was like, but for me, it was like the walk to Emmaus, you know? It's just like I'm walking along, and you suddenly realize that Jesus is walking with you. And it was great. And so I started going back to Mass, and then I went back the next week, and then the next week, and then I had to go back, and I started realizing that some of the things I was doing in my life, didn't really add up with going to Mass. So I had to get rid of them. But guess what? See, I used to be a champion swearer. Filthy, foul, vile, but the Lord took it away. Now I'm that boring person that if someone drops an S-bomb, I go, ah-da-da-da-da. No, you don't. No, don't be so stupid. You're smarter than that. You can use a better word. I've become that person. So that's sort of just I guess a bit of an example. And because I was coming to the church, I had to do a penance. That penance was called RCIA. And so, but it was wonderful. It was wonderful. I mean, the coming into the church was just this fantastic journey, and that's why I still remember. The date was wonderful. I had these sort of the different kinds of Catholics, as you know. So what James Joyce says about the Catholic Church: here comes everyone. Like when I grow up and I don't want to bag Presbyterians because my parents, lovely people. My father, by the way, not overly happy his son was becoming Catholic. He was like, I remember I was back home, and we'd gone to my sister. My sister got married, and we're driving back in the car, and I was like, okay, so I might as well bring it up. So I said, I'm thinking I'm going to become a Catholic. And there was this, you hear this put of the car going through the desert road. And my father said, I've got some books I want you to read before you do that. And I said, I don't want to read any books. I didn't want to read any books because it's the heart. I mean, the books come afterwards, but the Lord, He touches your heart, and you know what you have to do. So I came in, and before I came back to New Zealand, because I wanted to do it with the people that I've done RCIA with, and they were there. My point was that there was like the uptown Catholics, which was all my Spanish Harlem friends, lovely people, but I made downtown Catholic friends too, which were like, sort of more I don't know, they were intellectuals and sort of like the associated with First Things magazine and all of that. And it was just like, we all came together, we did it, and my replacement as US correspondent, Jack Tame, sat slouched in the back, wondering what wondering what the hell was going on. But that's, he's on a journey. Pray for him, because he's a seeker after truth. And then I came into the church, and you know what? Because we're Catholics, we all went out for drinks afterwards. We had martinis at noon. Just the one. So, look, my time is just about used up. But my life now is so different. I met my wife. I just resigned myself to being one of those sort of, at a family event, there's like this red-nosed old bachelor who smells of vodka and sways a bit. That was going to be me. But then I met my wife at Mass. And the first thing I thought was, oh, she looks like trouble. I'm not going to go near her, even though she was beautiful. And we ended up getting married. Now we've got 3 filthy, horrible, savage, vile little boys. And they're 4, 3, and 1. And like they were at the window as I was getting ready in the car this morning, looking the directions to get here. They're all, bye, Daddy, have a great day, bye. My life is so different. And my life feels so abundant now. Work comes and goes. Money comes and goes. Sometimes people come and go, but God's forever and family's forever. And now this device is telling me to shut up. So, hang on a minute. I'll just cancel it. Stop. Okay, so all I can encourage you to do is shut up. Hang on. Dismiss. There we go. Pardon me. See, I have to work on my temper. But all I can encourage you to do is just soak up what's happening here, and continue to walk with the Lord. And it's just it's just amazing. It's changed my life. So God bless you. God bless our Lord. God bless the Blessed Virgin. Hooray for the Blessed Mother Church. Woo!
Thanks again, Tim. I think describing yourself as an entertainer is a little bit of an understatement. It's been really good having you. I know how busy you are, so again, thank you very much. We really appreciate you taking the time to share your story with us.